pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin our annual organizational meeting for the Board of Education, we're going to take this time to do the oath of office for our newly elected and re-elected school board members. Anne Marie Anderson, Rachel Mickelson, and myself, Anna Werb, were elected on November 5th, 2022 to a 4-year term beginning on the first Monday in January 2025. We have all completed the necessary paperwork as required by law, including the acceptance of office and oath of office. While we all took our oath of office at the time of our acceptance, we would like to do a ceremonial oath of office at this time. So now I would ask our newly elected board members to join me down in front of the dais. Director Alt, school board clerk for 2024, will be leading the recently elected board members in this public ceremonial oath of office.
It is an honor that you are elected to guide the education of our community's children. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and other board members of our school board in the position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board, we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision of our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together and with the superintendent and staff to lead the district toward fulfilling the vision we have created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills and knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Having signed the acceptance of office and oath of office, will you please publicly affirm your commitment by repeating the oath of office after me? Director Anna Werb, Director Rachel Mickelson, and Director Anne Marie Anderson, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District number 191. To the best of my judgment and ability. Congratulations, everyone. You may be seated. And I will now turn the meeting back over to Chair Werb.
Thank you, Director Alt. Before moving to approve tonight's agenda, I would like to take a motion that we add a brief work session on board development after new business. Reasons for this added work session will become clear to everyone during our upcoming board member reports. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to amend the agenda to include a work session, please say aye. Aye. The motion to amend the agenda carries unanimously. Now we will move forward with approving tonight's agenda as stated and amended. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Director Chester.
I second.
Seconded by Director Mickelson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the motion carries unanimously. The next order of business is the annual organization of the Board of Education. There are 13 items to this section of the agenda. We will start by filling the 4 board officer positions. Nominations do not require a second. The board chair will ask for nominations 3 times before closing the nominations. Board members will need to vote only if there is more than 1 nomination for the position. The chair presides at all school board meetings and works with the superintendent on calling board meetings and establishing meeting agendas. At times, the chair is called upon to serve in a ceremonial capacity as the ranking elected representative of the school district. The chair countersigns all checks drawn by the treasurer. Are there any nominations for the office of board chair?
I would like to nominate Director Werb as chair.
Are there any other nominations for the office of chair? Are there any other nominations for the office of chair? If there are not further nominations, nominations for the office of board chair are now closed. Director Werb is the only candidate nominated for the office of chair. I hereby declare Director Werb elected chair by acclamation and direct the acting clerk to record it in the minutes. It says to switch spots with the new board chair. Okay.
Walk around.
Or just stand up and sit down.
In just a moment, special thanks to our outgoing and retiring school board members and most recent chair, Eric Miller, for his service to our board and schools and community. Now we will turn to the election of the vice chair. The school board created the vice chair position in 1989 for the purpose of easing the workload of the chair. The vice chair serves as chair when the chair is absent, assists with board operations, and plans the annual evaluation of the superintendent. Are there any nominations for the office of vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Director Alt for the position of vice chair.
Director Alt has been nominated for vice chair. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Are there any other nominations for the vice chair position? Nominations for the vice chair are now closed. Director Alt is the only candidate nominated for the office of vice chair. I hereby declare Director Alt elected vice chair by acclamation. We will now move to the election of clerk. The clerk presides at board meetings in the absence of the chair and vice chair. and from a legal standpoint is responsible for board minutes, signing board-approved contracts, and calling school board elections. The clerk also countersigns all district checks. The routine duties of the clerk are performed by the superintendent's office and business office. Are there any nominations for office of clerk?
I nominate Director Hume for clerk.
Director Hume has been nominated for clerk. Are there any other nominations for clerk? Are there any other nominations for the clerk position? Nominations for clerk are now closed. Director Hume is the only candidate nominated for office of clerk. I hereby declare Director Hume elected clerk by acclamation. Next, we will move to the election of treasurer. The treasurer is legally responsible for the deposit and withdrawal of all district funds and reporting same to the school board. Checks drawn on school district accounts are signed by the treasurer. The routine duties of the treasurer are performed by the business office. Are there any nominations for the office of treasurer?
I would like to nominate Director Chester as treasurer.
Director Chester has been nominated for treasurer. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Nominations for treasurer are now closed. Director Chester is the only candidate nominated for the office of treasurer. I hereby declare Director Leslie Chester elected treasurer by acclamation. The next agenda items is salaries of board members. Salaries of school board members are set annually. In January 2016, the salaries were set at $550 per month for each director, plus an additional monthly stipend of $50 for the chair in recognition of increased duties and expenses associated with that position. On March 14th, 2019, the salaries were reduced by $100 per month beginning July 1st, 2019. Recommendation: the salaries of board members be set at $450 per month, and the chairperson receives an additional $50 per month. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Director Alt,
Second.
second by Director Chester. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Regular meetings of the school board are typically held on the second and fourth Thursday of each month. However, board meetings may be scheduled during other weeks to accommodate scheduling needs. For example, the proposed 2025 calendar will have meets on the first and third Thursday in November. Regular school board meetings will be held at Diamond Head Education Center, 200 West Burnsville Parkway in Burnsville. The recommendation is that all regular meetings of the Independent School District 191 Board of Education commence at 6:30 p.m. on the dates outlined in the board packet materials, with meetings conducted at the Diamond Head Education Center and cablecast. Board listening sessions will be scheduled from 5:45 to 6:15 p.m. before regular board meetings. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Director Hume,
Second.
second by Director Alt. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Items G through M pertain to the calendar year 2025. They are of a routine nature, and although board action is required, discussion is usually unnecessary. I recommend approval of all resolutions as a single consent agenda. In the event a board member wishes to discuss any item, it should be removed from the list so that it may receive individual attention. Please note that our committee meetings will be approved at our board meeting on January 23rd. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda items G through M?
So moved.
Moved by Director Chester,
A second.
Second by Director Mickelson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And the motion carries unanimously. We will now move to our information portion of our meeting. The first report this evening will be a presentation of the Burnsville High School Secondary Course Catalog. Presenting this report this evening will be Dr. Chris Belmont, Assistant Superintendent, Jesus Sandoval, Principal, and Sarah Noble, Associate Principal. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Werb, Superintendent Battle, members of the board. Associate Principal Noble helped form a lot of the work tonight, but she's not here in present. But I'm happy to be here with Principal Sandoval. This is an annual process where we share some of the concepts and changes, adjustments to our course catalog as our students are preparing to engage with their support systems, like their families and our staff here, and plan out their 2025-26 school year. So, yeah, this year's course catalog includes several different features, and hand it over to Principal Sandoval to describe a few of them. Some of the ones that I noticed were a revamped English 11 course structure, expanded access for early pathway engagement in areas like automotive technology, and then changing some language and some of our course descriptions to be more modern and accurate.
What I would add to that would be specifically the English 11 A and B, going from specific courses such as science fiction, creative writing, intro to composition, and because there has been for some years very specific courses, but we are wanting to move into that English 11 A and B, A referring to a semester 1, B referring to a semester 2. And some of that rationale I think is important to know, so I would like to share a little bit about that. The rationale of moving to that direction is to ensure that our state standards are appropriately met for our 11th grade students, to ensure that we increase the number of students who successfully earn their English credit for 11th grade, allowing for more balanced course section numbers. Sometimes when you have those singleton classes, they can be really imbalanced quickly, so we honor that. Also, administration, the ELA department recognizes that there's a need to look at our ACT and MCA data the last couple of years, and we need to ensure that we are supporting our students and aligning to what our vision is. And so there's a need to move away from where we are at in the singletons in the direction of the English 11 A and B. Some of the other items throughout, as you note, are just some verbal changes, deletions, kind of minor, but certainly would open it up for questions if there are any.
I'm just wondering, since we're now going to have everyone in the 11th AB, and so it's only going to be seniors generally in those specialty kind of English courses, are you thinking that in the future there may be some revamping of how many of those maybe are offered? I mean, just as far as, how many students will be then in each, if it means, probably those specific genre kinds of courses.
Yeah, no, that is,
Need to be adjusted.
good question in regards to that. We didn't want to take that away from our seniors and those options specific, but we just honored kind of some things that I've shared, and just there's a need to make that adjustment. Historically, there was, I believe, back in 15, 16, around that time, maybe 2017, a shift from English 11 to our current model, And so after we look at data, we certainly need to shift appropriately back to the model that we once had.
Hi, so I had a question about when you were mentioning balancing between the classes. Was that between each semester, A and B?
It could be. Sometimes when we have 2 or 3 sections within a semester, there's some difficulties ensuring that there's a straight balance across within one semester or even across the semesters.
Dr. Alt.
Thank you, Chair Werb. I really appreciate your considering the MCA and ACT results and making the shift, and it'll be interesting to hear back and see. Hopefully that does help with some of the scheduling that you had talked about. You know, I know scheduling at the high school can be quite a task, and hopefully it allows for greater flexibility for students in other areas as well. So am I correct in understanding that the content of A and B, regardless of who's teaching it, will be the same?
That is correct.
Okay. And then just a couple questions beyond that. I was curious about removing American Portrait. Was that part of the ELA? I'm trying to remember what section that was in.
American Portraits?
American Portraits?
Yeah.
That was part of that change?
Yes.
Okay. And then, I think I know the answer. DCTC College Algebra, that is on site. Correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then ceramics, again, just curious about including working on a potter's wheel. Is there something with the equipment in the classroom that forced that change? Is it time for the class?
Yeah, one of the things about that, when you're that specific, and if you happen to not be able to offer that, we didn't want to limit that for that specific component, if that makes sense.
So if that happens, wonderful, but the teacher isn't tied to it.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you. And then digital photography. Is the school offering cameras to all students who participate in digital photography?
Yeah, so we have a set of cameras that can support the class, and so that is just something we have available.
So that's why the language was removed, that the students don't, like, the thought that a student would need to bring a camera to class is taken from the environment. And then last question. So we have 2 different kinds of Spanish offerings. The Spanish 1, 2, and 3, and then also Spanish for heritage learners. I have to say, I would expect that we would have some sort of restriction in Spanish 1, 2, and 3, that heritage learners would not be able to participate in that class, because we do offer that, those 2 unique options for students.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would expect that given that we offer 2 unique options, one for non-native Spanish speakers and a second for heritage learners, that we would want to make sure that we don't have heritage learners in Spanish 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, so I think that's the collaboration with the decision of the staff member that's a part of that. Certainly the Heritage Learners course offers that extensive amount of learning, but there are still Spanish-speaking students or Spanish-speaking families where a student isn't quite at a mastery level that they would want to, we would want to support their learning, and perhaps maybe not a Spanish 1, but a Spanish 2 as an entry level.
Got it. So the heritage learning classes are are not divided 1, 2, and 3?
The Spanish heritage classes, I believe, are, it is like an A and B.
A and B?
Yes, yes.
And that's a semester class?
That
or-
semester, I believe.
Got it? Okay. Well, that helps, thank you.
It might be multi-year. I'd have to check that, because there weren't changes for that, so we don't have it in front of us.
Yeah, I don't have that detail in front.
That's fine,
My
yeah.
recollection is a 2-year band, year 1 and year 2.
Well, I'm glad we offer it, so, thank you.
Yep.
Any other board members have questions?
I just have a comment, I guess. In the past, when we've had, say, budget discussions, one thing that has come up is, yes, we have this incredible, robust course catalog, but it's also somewhat dependent on how many students actually register for the classes. So just because a course is in the catalog, if one person signs up or nobody signs up, obviously then we're not able to necessarily offer it. I guess I do have a question. How does that happen a lot? I'm curious, do you have any sense of how often we don't have a class because there's not enough enrollment?
Yeah, it really varies. As each cohort of students comes through, there could be a different interest or passion.
Sure.
There could be something that's really trending for 2-3 years and then start to fall short.
Everybody wants to take the sci-fi and fantasy class, the next year nobody wants it.
Yes. But to answer your question, we are really conscious about ensuring that we have a healthy balance to support both the students' needs, interests, passion, and class sizes, both on the large end or on the smaller end.
There's certainly no shortage of options for them.
Correct.
Thank you.
Director Alda?
Sorry, just one more question dovetailing on Director Hume's. What is the cutoff for enrollment in a class that would prevent it from going forward? And I know it varies, like you've got classes like band and you've got world language classes, but in general.
So the question is, for it not going, is that accurate?
Or not going forward or going forward, like
Okay.
the
Yep.
enrollment,
Is there a
yeah.
minimum
Is there a
number?
minimum? Yeah.
And so you mentioned the key piece, it varies. And it really does because let's say, for example, we have a brand-new course. And that first year, there's just not a large number. Do we then year 2 say, well, we're not going to continue to invest in that? Or do we ensure that there is an investment because we want to see that grow? And so you're absolutely right, it varies. We are trying to, each year, have a really more clear picture of how we can continue to support either programs, not necessarily programs, more singleton classes that are declining or seem to be declining in enrollment. And is it because of communication piece that we need to ensure? Is it because it happens to be other variables that are outside of that? On the other end, the programs or classes that are just really taking off, we monitor why is that? Is it because of the curriculum itself? Is it because a staff member, we want all of our classes, all of our programs to flourish, but we know very well it's a very complex decision-making process because when a student or a family chooses to support one class, that means they're not supporting the other decisions that are also part of that, right? And so I'm appreciative that that I work in a school that has a variety and an enormous amount of decisions for our students to advocate for themselves and really flourish of what their interests are. And kind of in summary, it's important for us to pay attention to numbers and pay attention to classes and programs that are not doing well, that are doing well, and adjust accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll just add to that, one advantage of having the pathways is there's just it's baked in course momentum, so there's students spending time with instructor or instructors that are engaged in the pathways that can help with the communication and predictability for what might happen next. Not an exact science, as Principal Sandoval mentioned, but helpful.
I'm curious though, maybe you should sit back so it doesn't. Like heavenly voice. Like when you're in college, for example, when you're going through you're going to register or whatever, if you get to it like where the class maximum is hit, the class is closed then for you to register that semester or quarter. And then if there's not enough students registered, let's say like it requires a 5-student minimum, if that isn't met, then that course isn't going to occur that semester. Is that something that has happened, that we do here?
Yeah, we do have parameters.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. There are classes that literally have a waiting list, or that we have to open up a second section that we didn't initially plan. And the other part is true. We've had to, at times, because there was no other option, not offer a particular class because the initial registration was not to that point where we could offer that. So it is a balance where we're constantly looking at. So we do have parameters.
Okay.
It's not that it's just open. Because we need to be conscious about class size.
Yeah.
We need to be conscious about, there's some, when we look at specific CIS courses, for example, working closely with our college partners, that there's specific thresholds that they have that's different than other classes. When we look at courses with a particular facility need, technology, lab space, we have to be really conscious about numbers.
Okay, and then when students register, is it like the earlier the better to likely lock your spot, or so like you're not on a wait list?
A lot of the board members, and Miriam can attest that we do try to coach students to being thoughtful with alternates, so they select alternates. And then AP Noble and her team really scheduling is like a 12-month deal, so they're constantly looking at numbers, trying to massage numbers, look at staffing figures. It coincides with the budget recommendations from Superintendent Battle, so it's like a game of playing Go, but it tends to shake out for our students pretty well, is what I've experienced. The board giving us a 7-period day schedule does allow for that variety. Principal Sandoval is describing, as well as a little more flexibility and opportunity for the master scheduler. And we do things like child find too, we call it. So if we need to try to locate some more numbers to get that course to rise, to being able to be sustainable, sometimes our school counselors are aware of students that may not have yet registered, or we have new students that might be interested in those courses. So.
If I could just do a little plug-in, if possible. Since we are talking about course registration, we are in the month of January, so certainly once these are approved, we certainly can move forward. We have started some of the framework, but nothing to the extent, no student has registered. But for families that are watching, please engage in those conversations with your students, with your scholars, because that's critical, that's important. But January 22nd is when our official registration opens, and then we will offer up other opportunities, other times during the school day for students to register during advisory.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that before, that we lean on our link crew leaders to come down to our 8th graders and share testimonials and advice. So we're trying to really take Principal Sandoval mentioned, try to take a community approach to really being thoughtful and strategic and engaging our students in those pathways.
Well, I want to truly thank you for all the hard work that goes into planning the course catalog. I know from all the hard work that goes into it and everything that we see here on this document. It looks like it's very thorough, and I just have one quick question. I also wanted to reiterate from Director Alt that truly appreciate you taking the test scores into consideration and using that data to modify the course catalog. I was just wondering, were there any other courses that could benefit from that same approach as far as looking at the test scores?
Yeah, we are having conversations, absolutely, just of how we can continue to better support our students, and so there's not specific examples, but we are having conversations about how that is important for us to look as a programming standpoint, pathways, et cetera. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And Director Oftedal will have more expertise than me in this area for the SPA reports. But I would say, by and large, most of the rest of our courses that are core content courses at the high school are designed tightly around the standards. So then it's about looking at the test specs, the standards, and working with our teacher teams to help design all the instruction around that intent. English 11 was a little bit of something to kind of come back to a little bit, so that's what we did. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for presenting, and appreciate it. Next, we will receive a report from Miriam Bradeye, our student board representative.
Hello. So I want to start off with our Latinos Undos Affinity Group, who hosted a gathering this Tuesday where students were welcome to come in after school and join in on a Latino tradition of cutting rosca de rayas. And then moving on, Burnsville Strong is bringing back dog therapy next Tuesday to help with stress during finals week at BHS, which I personally am very excited about. And then for our choir, they're also bringing back their annual middle school choir festival. On January 23rd, our middle schoolers will have a chance to visit the Mraz and to see what high school choir is like and what the choir department has been up to this semester. Also, our wind ensemble and symphonic orchestra is going to be playing in the Mraz Center for 5th graders tomorrow to give them a glimpse of what band life is like and to answer any questions they may have. Also today, Youth in Government had 25 students leave for their 4-day conference this morning. They'll spend the next 4 days participating in a student-led model government at the Capitol and then staying their nights at the Hilton Hotel. We also have our Burnsville High School blood drive coming back for the winter drive on January 23rd. Students aged 17 and up can participate, as well as those who are 16 and have parent consent. It takes around an hour to donate, and donors can save up to 3 lives. Also for our wrestling, they participated in the new Richmond Invitational Tournament last week, and one of our seniors, Savante, placed first, and the overall team placed 5th. Finally, we had some exciting things going on in the pathways at BHS this week. The marketing and culinary pathway students were able to present their ideas for a food truck to a panel of judges, including Dr. Battle and Chef Jeff from Erie Delights. Also, business management and entrepreneurship students also had a chance this week to present their marketing plans to a separate panel of judges to simulate real-world marketing experience. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Miriam. Next, we will receive a report from Dr. Teresa Battle, Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair Werb and members of the board. Tonight, I want to share a couple of items. The first being to highlight our pre-K-12 pathways model. Just at the start of winter break, families received the latest issue of the Wayfinder magazine, which shares stories about our district, staff, students, and families. In this latest issue, the stories revolved around what it means to be a pathways district and how that approach is playing out in our schools. One section highlighted how we reinvented the maker spaces at our elementary schools so that all students are getting equitable access to materials and opportunities to create, problem solve, work in teams, and more with support and direction of each school's advanced learning specialists. This was a key component of expanding pathways to the elementary school, but one that became very difficult during the pandemic. Now it is very exciting to see makerspaces being used and better than ever. As our student representative shared today, I also had the opportunity to take part in a few examples of our students' experience the Pathways model. So in addition to the high school, I'll start with the Hidden Valley this afternoon. Klein Theater was on hand, performing and helping students explore the arts, and the main message was how it is very smart and wise and good to recycle trash. And they had an animated trash bag that was a hit among the students. A wonderful example of a spark experience that may help our students find something they love. And at Burnsville High School this morning, I had the distinct pleasure of serving as a judge as culinary and marketing students pitched their ideas for food trucks. The presentations were wonderful. The students were brilliant. The culinary arts students' food, it was yummy. We had items from a Russian restaurant, 2 barbecue restaurants, and we had 2 desserts from restaurants. And then we had a presentation. They didn't have a culinary team, but then we had another group. Very exciting. It's wonderful to see such clear examples of what we're trying to accomplish with Pathways. So equitable access, rigorous and meaningful learning, centering students as decision makers, promoting that future-focused thinking, partnering and collaborating both internally and externally, and providing real-world benefits and skills that students can use today and after graduation. So I want to thank my amazing and talented and dedicated staff for providing these amazing experiences. So with that in mind, I encourage everyone to nominate a staff member for this year's 191 Community of Excellence Awards. These awards recognize the extraordinary contributions of staff members in categories, including collaboration and partnership, innovation, community engagement, excellence in educational support, teaching excellence, and leadership in action. Additionally, a Spirit of Excellence Award will go to an individual or team that exemplifies the best of what the district seeks in its employees. Nominations will open on Monday, January 13th. Please go to our website where you can find the link, isd191.org/COE awards to learn more and provide your submission. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Battle. We will now move on to the board members' reports, and I would like to begin by sharing a letter from Director Mersal. I am writing this email to inform you of my resignation from my position on the school board for the 191 School District, effective January 7th, 2025. This decision is for personal reasons and was a difficult one to make. I am so very grateful for the opportunity to serve our community and contribute to the educational development of our students. During my time on the board, I have appreciated the collaborative efforts we've undertaken to enhance our schools and support our educators and students. It has been a rewarding experience, and I am proud of the progress we have made together. I've learned so much from this group for the past 2 years, and I am so thankful for your kindness and help and respect along the way. I've experienced, and I can attest to the passion, commitment, and the drive this group embodies in the betterment of our district for all students. I am honored to have served alongside you and have complete confidence in the continued success of our district with the impactful work you continue to do. Thank you for your understanding and support. I look forward to seeing the continued success of the 191 School District. While I'm sorry to see Director Mersal go, I can certainly understand and respect her decision. Before moving on with our meeting, I would like to make a motion at this time to officially accept her resignation effective January 7th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Hume. Okay, this says moved by, who's moved by it?
You did.
I did it? Oh, okay. You did. Okay, moved by myself, seconded by Director Hume. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to,
Oh, okay.
sorry. Yes, I agree with you, Chair Werb. Completely understand the personal decision and really respect Director Marcel for all that she contributed to this board. She will be missed, and I will hope to see her again in the community.
Yes, and if she's watching or listening, I wish her the best of luck. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Are there any other board member reports? Okay, thank you. Now we will move to the business portion of our meeting. We will start by approving the consent agenda. Although board action is required, it generally is unnecessary to hold a discussion on these items. In the event a board member wishes to discuss an item, that item will be moved for separate consideration. Do board members wish to remove any items from the consent items? Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So, go ahead.
So moved.
Moved by Director Anderson.
Second.
And seconded by Dr. Chester. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The motion carries unanimously. This concludes new business.
Nope.
Wait, oh,
Consent.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, I've jumped in. I skipped over some stuff, sorry. We have just one item under new business this evening, which is to approve the ISD 191 legislative priorities for 2025. Presenting the recommendation this evening will be Director Leslie Chester, Chair of the Legislative Committee.
Thank you. Yes, so last month, we had a work session, and the legislative, prior to that, the legislative committee had been working on creating this draft, and then we had a discussion during a work session in December with some consensus for this platform. And what it is we used it with information of the legislative platform from AMSD, from I don't know, all my acronyms are going to get all screwed up. MDE, MSBA, that's right, that's the one I wanted. And I think we took some from Scales, too. Was it Scales? A little bit. And we wanted to make sure that these priorities, one, wasn't a novel, and was also really top pertinent for impacting our district specifically. And so before our newest members here too, this is the legislative platform we're bringing for approval so that when we meet with our legislators in March or beforehand, we can give them this document. So my recommendation is to approve this legislative platform. I forgot about that too.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Moved by Director Mickelson,
Second.
seconded by Director Hume. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Now it concludes our new business. I was ready to get done, sorry. Before we begin, okay, this concludes our new business. Before we begin the board work session that we added at the start of our meeting, I move that we take a brief recess. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Chester, moved by, see, I was missing this before. It says moved by myself. Seconded by Director Chester. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Please return to the dais at 7:30 PM. We can get started. As I shared in board member reports, Director Safio Mersal has submitted her resignation, which will present our board with a vacancy that will need to be filled. In 2024, the HF 4772 elections bill included a new provision effective July 1st, 2024, that states if a school board vacancy occurs less than 2 years before the end of the term, no special election is required, and the vacancy can be filled by board appointment. See Minnesota Statute 123B.09. I wanted us to take this time to talk through some of the details that will relate to this and map out how best to move forward. In anticipation of this discussion this evening, I asked Sarah to pull together some materials from when we went through this process in 2020. Sarah, will you please pass out the materials at this time? The first item you will see in your packet is an overview of 2024 elections policy bill and the 2024 Minnesota Statute 123B.09, which relates to school board vacancies. The new item is a document from the Minnesota School Board Associations called Steps to Fill a School Board Member Vacancy with Sample Application and Interview Questions document. The other items include a brief overview of what steps were taken back in 2020 to fill a vacancy and board materials used through that process. I think it would be beneficial this evening to identify a timeline and outline a process for filling Director Mersal's position. So with that, let's open it up and kind of peruse over the documents here and see what jumps out. And then kind of go from there. I think the crucial thing is the timeline. We want to get this up and out there, make some decisions on what time frame we're working with.
So it looks like at our next board meeting, if we're following this, we would be wanting to approve the candidate application timeline itself.
I believe
That
so,
would be
yeah.
ideal, right?
Unless we want to have a special meeting and I mean, if we.
To expedite it quickly.
To expedite it, if we discuss it tonight and then we arrive at the special meeting with just a simple approval, we could do that too.
Because tonight is really the second bullet, right, under October 22nd.
So basically, we have to decide the timeline and discuss process, as Anna said. And the last time, so what I'm looking at is when we went through this process, the resignation was announced in the beginning of, on October 8th of 20. And regular board meeting on the 22nd. We approved the application timeline, and then we had a board vacancy planning work session. October 20th, so then we had like 3 weeks maybe for the application process. Special meeting on the 17th for the interviews. And then at the beginning of December, vote and resolution to select the candidate. So all in all, it was basically 1 month for the process, and then the appointment happened at the following one.
And I forget, Was there a reason? I think there might be. Is there a reason why they were selected December 10th and didn't, maybe we just didn't have another meeting before January 14th? Is that what it was? Okay.
And I think
Or
also
is that if
just,
there's a 30-day
They have to wait
requirement?
30 days.
There is. That's why I was
Yeah.
wondering. I was thinking there might be.
and I think part of the thinking was have it timed so that all of the swearing in would happen at the same time. I don't remember if we had new people then. I think we did.
If we what?
No, that was one where just.
We were all virtual, because I remember we did the special meeting.
Yes, yeah.
By
you're right.
by Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was just Sue.
That's, oh, I have to remember that part.
I just remembered, I was like, when did we do a special meeting where we thought oh, yeah.
Right. This was all online.
Yes, it was.
I forgot about that online part.
So I would suggest, I would be certainly open to having a special meeting following tonight because we're at the beginning of our year
Right.
and we've got a lot of in-depth conversations to have, and it's going to be tough for that person to come in like late.
So on the, on the back of this, there's a recommendation that was done on the 13th. So,
Of October?
yeah,
It was the 26th.
but that was, so was it created on the 13th and then it was done at the 22nd is when it was,
Yeah,
It
the
was-
tops relate to the dates. that are
oh,
forward.
okay, all right.
Dates are when they're.
So should we should follow this same,
Or
Rec-
what
create
you're
a rec-
saying is actually have a special board meeting to approve the candidate application to expedite it faster,
Right.
Right. Like if
rather
we-
than wait to the next board meeting.
If we decide tonight on the timeline, or
Yeah.
what we want the timeline to be, then we could potentially have a special meeting sometime next week.
Right.
so, oh,
Move the
okay.
process faster rather than waiting until the meeting on the 23rd to approve it
yep.
and kick the process off.
Because then maybe we would be able to have the application open prior, even the rest of January.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because, yeah, it looks like the application process, I don't know when the deadline, if the process was 2 weeks.
Yes.
Right.
So-
I think, isn't that what it is during the summer also, during the normal election? I think it's 14 or 15 days.
End of, it's like July.
Was that around the end of
It's
July
like
to
2
the
weeks, yeah.
mid-August, I think? Or, yeah, about 2
Yeah.
weeks. So that's
Mid to end.
aligns with the typical process, is my point.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
We don't need to have it a month, because we don't do that during the regular voting period.
Oh.
Although getting the message out, I could see where,
True.
everybody's expecting, when the election.
if we wanted-
Cycle
Maybe
kind of
3
comes,
weeks,
but yeah.
What
right,
time
but it's not like, oh, it's
notification
gonna
to
take 2
announce
months.
that we want to have a special meeting need to occur if we want one next week?
We need 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
But can we decide on that
3 business days?
date now so that it's
Good.
So you got the 10th, 13th, 14th, so you could only have the 15th, 16th, 17th.
So Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday?
Yeah. Because tomorrow would be the first business day, right?
Yep.
Monday,
How-
then 2.
How late is MSBA Phase 2 all day on Wednesday?
Yes, it's all day, it ends at 4.
It ends at 4.
Yep, it ends at 4.
I am available only on Friday. I've got work commitments
Okay.
Monday through Thursday. But if you have a quorum,
True.
I can make any of those work. I can make Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday work.
Yeah, I can too.
I also can.
What time on a Friday?
I'm at the MSBA.
I prefer
Yeah,
not
Friday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Friday could like
Friday.
4 early.
Yeah.
you do a Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon, because the conference is done at noon,
Right.
and,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
yeah, and
So we
can get down here and be in person.
So we
They
could
have
do-
the whole day off
Yeah.
anyway because of the
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm
Friday works
available
great.
after 1 o'clock, so, on Friday. That's the earliest I could go.
We want to say 4? Is that too late? Could do any time.
4. I'm okay with 4.
I'm good with 4.
I'm fine with 4.
On the 17th, 4? on
4
the
o'clock
17th.
on Friday, the 17th?
Yep.
Yay, consensus.
Kids on
Special meeting, just to confirm, because I'll post it tomorrow, special meeting to discuss the application process for the vacancy on the 17th at 4 PM here at Dining
Yes.
Head.
And then I think it should also be to approve the application timeline, because that's really the action we're taking.
Right, that's a good point, yeah, because we have
Yep.
to take.
We can discuss
board
it
action.
tonight and then take
Yeah.
action.
And
But that's what we're,
That's
that's
why we're
why
having the
we're
special
meeting
meeting.
for that, for the motion
Right,
part.
right.
Yeah. Whatever's requiring us to vote.
All right, so
So then now the
January
process.
17th special meeting. And then are we thinking, will we open the process? Just thinking, we have a
Like
meeting
that
at
Monday?
4. Like, well, Monday's a holiday.
Yep.
Yeah, so Tuesday,
So
the
maybe Tuesday,
21st.
the 21st?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 21st. I mean, technically, if you're giving it 2 weeks, then the close would be February 4th for 2 weeks, or actually, full 2 weeks would be Monday, the 3rd of February.
Do we want to consider Friday of that week? Like the 7th?
17th?
Of the-
That full week.
Friday the 7th?
Oh, gotcha.
Of when the application would.
Gotcha.
Close.
Would
So it
close.
opens the
Yeah.
21st, and then
So we're
2.5
giving-
weeks later. We give them a couple extra days.
It's
'Cause you were
actually
making
like
the point.
almost 3 weeks.
We might need to get the word out a little more than a regular election, so maybe need a few extra days.
Yep.
Okay,
And I always like closing things on Friday.
yeah. Or we could go one day less than 2 weeks and close it on the 31st.
Leslie wants to make it even shorter.
Let's get the start. February 13th. The next, right, February 13th, yes.
Which would mean, oh,
All
yeah,
right, that's right.
that would be,
Of course, then in February, what seems to make
If we're gonna
sense as far as
edit-
when we can have
You just
the
want to do it at your regular meeting.
questions,
Could
the
we have it
Q&A.
at the, like a work session after the meeting? on the
because
13th?
that would be,
Or I guess
which
that's
step
a
in the
special
process are
meeting.
we talking about now?
Well, the 7th is when the applications would all have to be in.
Yep.
And then that following Thursday, you already have a regular board meeting.
And we would use a work session to,
Well, would the,
Or would that be when we could do this, could we
that would be a
add?
special meeting to
That's what
actually
I'm wondering.
interview the client,
Yes.
not
Yeah, we
the
need to
clients, the
find
candidates.
out.
How soon do you want to interview? Do you want to tack it on to the regular meeting or
13th.
have a separate day? That's what I'm
Right.
asking.
I think we could do it, we could tack it on as a work session, as long as we don't have
Is it a work session? Because
I think we have to call it a special meeting.
special
Special
meeting. Oh, so
meeting,
then it would be.
yeah.
Probably, because board action, you know,
Yes.
as we're talking, and eventually recommending a candidate.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 2 thoughts, it's been done 2 ways. The special meeting could be before the regular board meeting, which could work for people, or it could be after the regular board meeting.
And then you say the 13th.
The challenge with doing it before is we also have the listening session, so then
It's much
it
earlier.
would have to be much earlier.
Yep.
It would have to be at like 4:30 to 5:30 or something, which
Depending-
I could do, but I don't know
But
that everybody could do.
Is that
necessarily.
the interviewing of the
Yeah.
candidates? Do you think an hour's enough? If we have like
Depends on how many
2 or
we have.
3? I
We
mean,
have
you're
no
almost
way,
gonna
no way of
need
knowing
it.
how many we're gonna have.
But isn't that, okay, so here's where the questions come. Is there going to be a couple people who review the applicants and then only, kind of like when you're
Oh.
going for a job?
yeah.
Or do you interview everybody who applied?
We can set our own process.
Okay.
Typically, it's been a full board.
Right,
It's a full board thing.
Yeah,
it really is.
okay.
Well, even if it's a full board thing, is it, can it be narrowing it down?
To decide
On
who we want to
paper.
Right,
interview.
you know,
So
like,
like
let's
when
say we
you-
get 5 applicants, do we interview all 5, or do we?
We
whittle
don't
it
have to
down?
interview all 5. We could say,
We could review the applications ahead of time before a special meeting that we interview.
yeah,
Would
yes.
we need to, though, have a meeting? a meeting to discuss and finalize who the finalists are?
Review the.
We do, yeah, we would
Yeah,
need to,
we
yep, we would.
Maybe that's what we'd have to do on the 13th. That's what we should do on the
Right.
13th.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Or to
Then
review,
we-
to review the resumes.
And then we have another special meeting the week after the 13th where we interview the candidates.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Right.
yes.
I think
Welcome
that's a
to the
good
board.
idea.
well, I'm just wondering if, I
But
mean, this is
Monday is
getting
a
so long,
holiday.
like maybe do we, to be able to facilitate this, we cut it off that Wednesday, the 5th, and then we can review things on Friday, the 13th, Friday, the 7th. We
That's-
can review things and then get them interviewed the next week.
Yep.
And just, so this doesn't drag out. Even a week or two, getting them.
That's why I'm
at-
like, let's close it the 3rd.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
Right.
Wednesday, the 5th, the nice middle of the week, they can, and then, because I think, for our election, I think it closed on like a Wednesday or something. It was actually in the middle of the week
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it closed.
I think that's a great idea.
So repeat again.
February
Closes
5th.
what day?
It'll open on the
Wednesday, the
21st and
5th.
close on February 5th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then
I
are we
believe
saying
there
have
has to
another
be a
special meeting on
time.
the 7th?
8,
Or we-
Yeah,
7
like where we
PM, 5
review
PM.
the-
Usually with elections, there's a
It's like 5 PM.
What do we do
5
for
p.m.
elections? What time do they say?
It's 5.
like 5 PM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 5 PM. That's standard
5
business
PM on the
hours.
4th.
And the start of business day
it
for
says,
you.
right, I think it
on
said
the
it on
opening.
here. It says about the, it will accept applications from individuals interested in filing the vacant directs beginning October 23rd at 8 AM and ending on November 6th, 2020 at 1 PM.
All right, we'll be kind.
Yeah,
COVID type.
Oh, yeah, 'cause, yeah, we were really COVID.
Yeah. Interesting.
so then we would have, to Rachel's point, we close it on the 5th, we have a special meeting on the 7th,
Yep,
5th or the 4th?
5th.
Okay.
yep.
Wednesday, the 5th.
Wednesday, the 5th.
And have a special meeting on the 7th where we, if needed, narrow down. And
We
I guess
we review the applications and
review
then
the
make
applications, right.
recommendations to who will be coming interviewing.
And probably then, we can kind of talk about, who's going to ask what questions or
Right.
different things and kind of get that
And-
planned and then can,
In the event there are only, well, I guess we may still want to meet even if there are only 1 or 2 applications, because what if we review them and
Yeah.
none
There-
of them are qualified, frankly, yeah.
Or there's one,
Or there's only one
Obvious.
application, right? So I think we'll still need to meet regardless of whether
We
it's
should
even just
plan
one
it, yeah.
application. And not just assume
so the 7th at 4,
on the 7th again.
does that work?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to think for a minute.
4 would be good.
Violet may be with us because my husband works till 7 that night.
Would that be a special meeting or like a work session?
Oh, yeah, she complained.
Oh, that would be a retreat.
How much longer?
Because you're just working.
Yeah.
You're not
Would it?
making action.
That would be a retreat.
11th
Well,
She's a 6th grader.
Because-
Anna has a daughter
Aren't we?
at
In
Nicholas.
just- in
who's
terms of
6th
deciding
grade.
who we're
So,
going
yeah.
to
My youngest.
invite for an interview, I guess.
I could see
Is that action, is that technically action though?
freshmen and they can, she can hang out with it.
I know, 'cause I have an 8-year gap between my kids. and my son
What
already
are we
graduated.
doing on the 7th
And
again?
his
Reviewing
program, so-
applications.
Unless
That's
he
all.
needs
I
to
think we
come
said we
up
would
that
interview
night,
the
but
following
He'll have to
Deciding
wait.
if and how many people we're going to
Okay,
interview
got
as a on the meeting on the 7th.
Yep.
And it could be,
Is Director
It could be-
Nicholson said.
it could, sorry, go ahead, Dr. Bell.
I thought Director Nicholson said you could do one other thing too.
Oh, like
I think
approve
I missed
the,
that
oh,
part.
go over the who's gonna say what interview questions.
And kind
Okay.
of
Oh,
discuss
sure.
kind of who
So
covers
it
what
could be
topics.
listed initially as a special meeting. If we find that it's not technically board action, it would become a retreat.
Retreat, okay.
Yeah.
I'll put it as a.
Didn't we have pre-prepared questions last time? Or
We
did we all
did.
just each
Yes,
ask
we
a
did.
couple
They're at the
questions?
back.
Oh, there they are, general.
Oh, there they are.
All right, I was gonna say, I thought we
It was
did.
very COVID specific.
Oh, yeah, on the application itself, I think number 12 can go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we interviewed for Sue, we've had 2 of these vacancies since I've been on the board. Did we interview for Sue? Was that virtually also?
That was this.
That was for this.
But we haven't gone through this for somebody
Oh,
else.
that's-
It was
Not
only,
this group, not this group.
not this group, it was only Sue,
Right.
Oh, I guess you're right, that was, okay.
yeah.
Well, no, there was,
There's
there was another
Jen
another
left.
gentleman. There was another gentleman that.
No.
Yeah, there was,
Oh, who interviewed with Sue,
correct.
right, that was it, but we
Oh,
didn't
you're
bring
right,
somebody
you're right.
else on, it was
You're
just
right.
Sue.
That was,
Because I think
Jen
everybody else,
left, Sue replaced her.
yeah. And then nobody else resigned.
And when Sue left,
She was
She
just
left at the end of her
she was
term?
seeking not being reelected.
that's right, that's right,
Because
okay.
there was that possibility. and
That's
then
what I was
We didn't make that happen.
leading in my brain. You're right, you're right.
There you go.
Thank you.
So there's general questions also. Mm-hmm. We would maybe want to use just the general questions and then maybe think of, I mean, I don't know.
For interviewing?
I think we do that
we
on the
can-
7th.
yeah,
Like, on
we
the
can
7th,
discuss it.
let's decide who is moving forward in the process and what the questions are gonna be.
Yes.
Who's gonna
Yeah,
ask?
and
Yeah.
it'll probably based on like what the applicants have on their,
Right,
it'll help to inform what kinds of
Exactly.
questions. and-
exactly.
But of the actual application itself, are there things maybe we want to make adjustments
Yep,
now
let's look at
for?
the point, Leslie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like question 12.
yeah, I think there's more than one about COVID.
Yeah, that's a
that's-
COVID question.
That's
But
why
it could
this
be
list
finance.
is more like, just a base. It's like right after, so there's this section.
Was it after the application?
Yeah, it's after the application and then the
Oh,
details
general-
on.
Oh, it's like
select-
the last page.
Yeah,
No, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it
it's
just,
the second to the last page. Oh, those are the actual interview questions we ask in person
Asked last time.
or virtually.
oh,
We want their written application.
okay,
yeah.
well,
That's what this was.
Do they submit something else with it, like a
A
resume?
resume, yep.
okay,
The application is in the packet.
Yeah, right.
okay, so we just need to like scratch the ones that are COVID related, I guess.
Right.
Or
modify 'em.
modify them if they're still relevant in a
I mean, the
way.
whole idea that finances are
I was
complex.
Yeah.
gonna say,
I
that
mean,
question, you
that's
just
good.
cross out a few words and
Yeah, just
rephrase
say-
it so it's less awkward. and
Explain
you
your
can
approach.
Easily ask the same
Yeah.
question. What's your approach to budget cuts? Potential budget cuts?
Or given the fact that all the pandemic money's gone.
So for 12, strike that second sentence
Yep, yeah, that's all you need to strike.
and just ask there, what would your approach
Right.
be?
The potential of the Department of
I
Education.
mean, that's really the only one on this application that
Yeah, I don't think there's really,
is where it has the COVID references, anyway.
I would just ask if like the following question, for example, it has number of employees, is that still relevant?
Need to update that.
Does that need to be updated?
oh,
Yep.
Should have probably updated the number, but I think it's, the question itself is
fine,
probably,
just
yeah.
yeah.
And the buildings, the number of buildings.
Oh, the number of buildings, yeah.
Right. So maybe fact check those types of things.
Oh,
17
would
buildings.
16 apply?
Yes.
Still have room right there?
Because they wouldn't have to go through a special election process, but
They
they
wouldn't,
would,
but at the end of their term,
if they choose to.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
and I think it's a fair question to ask intent.
Sure, sure. Like, no, I'm just here for 2 years.
I mean,
I don't know why.
We're just testing it
Intentional.
out, see if it likes
That's fair.
Okay.
Describe the differences between governing and managing. That's a nice question. Please review policy 209.
And are we still thinking adding something to the meeting on the 13th where we'd actually do the interviews, or we want to find a different date to do the interview slash interviews?
To actually do the interviews. Date.
I mean, since,
I
next step
personally
after.
think we should do it on a different day.
Okay.
I was gonna say, since we're here already, it'd be not.
It depends on how many people. Like tacking on 5 interviews after a meeting would be rough.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's, I don't, like, if you're interviewing somebody, it shouldn't be after a late night meeting. I feel like that's,
And it's not fair to them to sit here for 3 hours waiting while we,
No.
because they don't know what time it's going to start.
Yeah. I mean, if we had 5 people, I mean, I think we'd almost have
Isn't
to
a
do
budget night?
interviews over 2 days, because that would just be,
I'm sure.
we'll be like,
So I would suggest not the 14th.
I would highly
Agreed.
recommend that.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah. We could have Valentine's treats
We
while we
could.
do this.
So are we thinking
Are
we
extra
should
points the
do it
candidate brings
before
us
the Thursday meeting or after it?
Yes, before, because then when we come back,
So we could do it I mean,
Because
the
on the
12th.
13th, then we could make the call.
Yeah,
Could do it when?
yes,
the 13th.
the 12th.
Wednesday, the 12th?
Oh, no, okay, now I have to pull.
Yeah.
calendar
Yeah,
together.
I think that would
Hold
that
on,
would
hold
work for
on,
me.
hold on. Let's get my calendar. Come on,
So-
recognize me. You said Wednesday, the 12th?
Wednesday,
Yeah.
the
Hold
12th.
on.
What time?
Like
if it's a Wednesday, it's gonna have to be like
A little later.
6 for me. I mean,
Let's do 6:30.
We could
That's
do
our normal
6:30.
meeting.
30,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
I've got, I'm okay. I can do it too, yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't need the reminder.
And does it make sense that, I mean, I don't know, as far as somebody, when they put in an application, as far as their availability to have that mentioned?
Yes.
That, discussions with the board will happen the evening of the 12th?
Is that part of the, is that tacked onto the application description?
I think it should
Maybe
be.
outlining the process, like,
Right.
the whole process.
Yeah.
When we announce it, we should include all of those dates.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd just be included in, like,
And if we're interviewing on
how to
February
apply.
12th, that
Yeah.
should be clear that
Yeah, that it's, to be available.
Yeah,
expect
it's
you to
like,
be
it'll
here.
be on the page, the ISD 180 Board of Education vacancy application information.
Yeah, we'll just need to add a couple things.
Yeah.
Information, yeah. Awesome.
So it's 4:00 on the 7th.
And I
Trying
would,
to put it on my calendar right now.
it's at 6:30, right, on the
And-
12th?
Yeah.
my recommendation, just to make it simple and straightforward so people are aware, is we use bullet points for the process. Just,
Yep.
this is the first step.
Like a good bullet
Second
point.
step, just let people make sure people see it.
And so then if we approve them on the 13th,
Then we have to wait 30 days.
right, which means that their first meeting would be the 27th of March, because February only has 28 days, so it couldn't be the 13th of March. So
Wow.
it'd be the second meeting, or is that, I don't have the calendar handy, is that the
Is it
second
30
meeting in March,
days or 30
27th?
business days?
It'll be in the, I'd have to clarify the lands.
It'd be the 12th would be,
It just says the
30
board
days.
waits 30 days.
Right.
right?
But we don't have another meeting. I'm saying their first meeting would be whatever the second meeting in March is.
The 13th. Very next day. Right?
It's like Saturday.
I thought we said we were gonna approve them.
if we
on the
approve them on
13th.
February 13th, 30
Right.
days after
30
that
that's what I'm
can't be
saying.
March 13th, yep.
There's only
Right.
28 days in February.
It's the
It has to be
15th.
February
It's
15th. would be
yeah.
the
Oh,
date
the
that-
Ides of March.
So their first meeting would be whatever the first one after that is.
The 27th,
Which we
yep.
just approved, and I'm trying to
Yeah,
find.
which
The
would be,
27th,
yep,
I
March
assume.
27th.
Yeah.
Violet's
That is it.
birthday.
That's unfortunate. This is all.
Well, at least it's before spring break because we don't meet during spring break. So,
Right. That's what I was double checking. I couldn't remember when spring break was, if that was that week or not.
it's the March 31st through the 4th of April.
It's that split week.
So it's the Thursday of the week before spring break.
Or the week after my college students.
Will be their first meeting, so we could include that on the
Yeah,
application.
yeah.
As far as the key dates, is your first meeting would be Thursday, March 27th.
Well, yeah, like the selected candidate will be sworn into office on this date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, special meeting on the 17th. Uh, 5th, close the application window.
Well, not February,
Oh, but the
January.
application opens on
So
January
next Friday, we're
21st.
going to have a special meeting to approve the.
So the 21st through the 25th, the applications are accepted. On the 7th, we have a special meeting to review applications and determine interviewees. Special meeting
The 12th.
the 12th
Yep, to do the interviews.
to do the interviews.
At
We
6:30?
6:30.
6:30.
And then,
The 13th,
We decide.
so if we, because that would be on new business, right? For
Right.
board approval, so it'd be something we could have as a
Placeholder.
placeholder on the
Yep.
agenda and do, okay.
Yep.
resolution
Yep, works for me.
to appoint.
And so the special meeting next Friday afternoon will be to formally approve what we've just talked about.
Yes. Correct. So it could be very short.
And discuss the interview questions
Questions.
as a retreat.
Or did we need to review the
If we can.
application or just approve it being final with the changes?
Well, yeah, it'll be our one action item, and we just make sure that it matches what we discussed
On the 13th.
on the
The 7th.
7th. Yep.
Oh, wait, the 7th.
No, wait, the 13th.
They were just talking about the
No,
17th.
the 17th,
This coming.
the 17th.
Next Friday, we're just approving the timeline, I think.
Correct.
And the application.
Correct.
Yeah,
And then on the 7th,
is
February
the,
7th is when we narrow down, decide who we're going to ask for an interview, and
And then do
finalize
the
the actual
questions.
interview questions.
yeah,
Can I ask Aaron a question? So this format of this application, the way it is currently, what do we need? Do we need to give something to you to update this, or how does that work?
oh, is this like a Google form? It's a
Yeah.
Google form.
So I should be able to edit all.
Oh,
Get it done, or Sarah will be able to do it.
oh, okay. And, all right, so then at just some point, then you say it's updated and it's, make the button go live and they, whatever, and they can fill it out.
Update it and put it in the, the meeting for the 7th, for that special meeting. I'll be able to have the draft copy, so you'll see it in the packet. So we'll update it, and then once you formalize on the 7th, that we're good to open it and post it, then we'll work with Aaron to get it out.
Okay.
And then the website, I'm assuming will have the details outlined.
And social media with a link and all that jazz.
So one question, looking at the details on the selection process.
Uh-huh.
That's next week. This part.
Okay, what about it?
So this is,
This is after we've decided on somebody.
You come to
No.
that, come to the, what are you looking at? The
So
vote?
the.
How do you
deta-
vote
The
on
actual
somebody?
vote?
That was something that, I don't know, well, yeah, we did take, this was something that we did take action on because we wanted to make sure we were all in agreement on and clear on what the process was.
Right,
So this would be part of that special meeting too.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, this board candidate application timeline resolution.
No, the details on selection process.
Oh, that
at
part.
the-
We're
At the
like-
very back.
Okay, I gotta
We
flip.
got an application from Joe. Does anybody want to nominate Joe to move forward in the process?
Oh, as we're
We have an
reviewing the
application from
applications, yeah.
Marie, does
So
anybody
we
want
can-
to nominate Marie to move forward in the process?
Where did
Like
that
that.
Oh,
So,
that's the last page.
one of them,
Yeah.
one of them, towards the back anyway.
So there's no rush for this, but it's just something that we should discuss and
Yeah.
formalize.
Yes.
Should that be in the February 7th meeting?
I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because that's, by that point, that's when we'll know, again, if we only have one, it's a different process than if we have 10.
Exactly.
So I don't think we
Yep.
need to spend a ton of time hashing out those details until we have a sense of how many people are applying.
Oh.
Yep.
But yes, we should do that on the 7th, I think.
Yeah, and I can see how some of the language would change a little bit because whoever we had selected in November doesn't need to reapply in January. According to what's written here. They would be
Yes,
able
good point.
to seek election in the next open election.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's why it was getting mushed up in my brain, because the law has changed since then. And
Right.
when Jen resigned, we could only appoint Sue for a year, then we had to have a special election. Or, didn't we do a special?
We
election?
did.
We
She
did.
ran 3 years in a
Yeah,
row.
she ran on the ballot 3 years in a row. I'm
I know, yeah, she had the longest process of becoming, like, she really wanted to be on this board.
Yeah.
As it was like 3 times.
Yeah.
It was.
Wow. I forgot about all that.
All right. So are we all in consensus on the plan? All right, we're good?
So,
Okay.
So Friday, next week at
Next
4
Sat-
o'clock.
I
Yes.
have it in my calendar.
Yes.
the most important detail.
Like, we have 6:30 coming around, just making
I'm
sure
thinking
we're
in my brain, I've got to
time.
make sure I coordinate, that I have a van that afternoon. Exactly.
Okay, so the time is now 8:09, and having no further agenda items, I now call to adjourn this meeting of the Board of Education.
All right.
Tony would be so proud.